think I can make that post too. Yeah, I see it on the Canyoneering Chicks, the Facebook Live on Canyoneering Chicks.
Okay, I just typed out a post on Canyoneering Chicks, so maybe somebody will see that. But I can still start either way. Should I just start, or what do you think?
Yeah, just start.
Okay. So I'm Kristen Lee. I live in Salt Lake City. Let's see if I can share my screen. It looks like I probably can. So let me start this. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Cool. So I went to Bajos del Toro in March of 2020. So not everything in 2020 was terrible for me. But it was kind of funny. We actually left like the week before everything in the US shut down. So it was pretty funny. We were in Costa Rica, and like after every canyon, we would like look at the news to see what was happening in the US. And I actually cried when we had to come back home because it was just so wonderful. And I was like, I don't know what I'm coming home to, but we had a great trip. So this is the little town we were in. Again, it's called Bajos del Toro. It means Valley of the Bulls. And it was kind of cool. Like when we hiked to some of our canyons, we would literally walk by bulls every morning that were just like roaming free. It was pretty sweet. So this is me on my way. I had no idea what was going on, and I was kind of panicking about leaving, but we went anyway. Here's the backyard of the Airbnb we stayed in. This is someone we canyoneered with. His name's Oliver from Spain. He actually had a drone and was able to take some really awesome photos, which was pretty sweet. So there was me, my boyfriend Connor, Oliver. There was someone named Troy that lives in Salt Lake. We actually never met him before. And then our canyon guide. And this is our driveway. This is what we saw when we pulled up. So this is Johan. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Johan. I linked his Instagram handle. It's at Johan Canyoner, I guess, _ Canyoner. And he lives in Costa Rica, and he is always really excited to have people reach out to him to try to get a group together to canyoneer. And he charges the groups to take them canyoneering, but it's really, really well priced and really worth it, because he actually established some of the canyons that we did. And he knows a lot of the local people and was able to kind of talk to them for us to get us access to the canyons. So working with him was really, really helpful. And I don't think there's a lot of established data for like the things that we did. And so having a guide was super useful. So if you guys are interested in going to Costa Rica, I highly recommend contacting him. He's really happy to get groups together. So a lot of the canyons in Costa Rica, or at least the ones we did, are all in water courses. And I swear I did more jumps than I did rappels in these canyons. It was just a lot of things where you were able to jump them, and it was faster and it was pretty fun. I actually wasn't a huge fan of jumps before I came, but I got used to it because I was forced to jump a lot of things. So that was pretty fun. So there were also, so here's a couple more cool pictures. There were some like really fun slides we did, and here's another one of Johan jumping. And then of course there are tons of waterfalls we rappelled. Someone asked how high the jumps were. You guys can just ask me out loud if you want, but the jumps were probably between like 15 and 20 feet. I don't think any of them were more than 20 feet. And they were usually like pretty wide open, like it didn't feel like you had to really dodge obstacles or anything. So also it was kind of cool, the waterfalls that we repelled, like these are some shorter waterfalls. And usually you didn't have to get like too much in the flow of the waterfall. You could kind of get in as much as you wanted to, which was nice. So if you are like, hey, I don't love being like pounded by waterfalls, these were all super nice because the rappels were set up basically to the side of most of them. And if they weren't, you weren't going to be in the water super long anyway. So it was actually pretty nice like that. Let's see. Oh, I don't know why this, okay, there we go. Okay, so one of the canyons we did was called Upper Mordor. And you can probably guess why it was called Mordor based on these photos. But this is actually a volcano, the picture on the left, that's in Bajos del Toro. It was just behind the town we were staying in. And it probably took us about maybe an hour and a half to hike up. You basically hike up to the top where this volcano is. And on that picture on the left, you can kind of see there's this like river course or water course that's running down the side. And that was the canyon that we ended up doing. And it was a really cool canyon. Like the rock features were like some of the coolest features I've ever seen. They were, I'll show you some more photos, but this is just an aerial view on the right of the canyon. And the canyon is like, there's two drainages, and I think the canyon was the one on the right. So this is just like a close-up of some of the rock features that we saw at the beginning. It was just so cool. I've like literally never seen rock like this before. It was so beautiful. So again, this is just an aerial picture. If you look really close, you can see two people. The one in the orange jacket is me. I'm kind of like towards the bottom of the photo or like in the middle. And then my boyfriend Connor is closer to that water, that blue water. So here we're just starting the canyon. Here's another aerial view. If you look really closely in the top left, you can see a little human. And also like towards the bottom, kind of in the middle, you can see another little human. So these walls are really tall.
Great perspective.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like that one person I mentioned from Spain, like brought his drone and was just taking like tons and tons of photos. And we got super lucky. Yeah, we got some really awesome photos. So here's a couple rappels in that canyon. These are some of the first rappels after you initially drop in. And the water is just like really beautiful and green and blue. And also the rock has a lot of like minerals from the volcano. And so the rock, like, I don't know if you can see the edges, or they're kind of orange. And so you just get these really stunning, beautiful colors. So these two photos are me just rappelling down a couple waterfalls. It might even be the same waterfall. It kind of looks like the same waterfall. And then here's another one of these pools. I think this is honestly my favorite canyon I've ever been in, just because it was so beautiful. There were just these beautiful pools throughout the whole thing. So this canyon was kind of nice too, because none of the rappels were super, super long, but everything was interesting and really pretty. And something that I thought was really kind of cool is that a lot of the anchors that we used in this canyon were these anchors where they had drilled basically a tube or a tunnel through the rock and threaded cord through the rock. And so the reason we asked them why they did this, and they said because if they tried to use bolts for these canyons, the minerals from the volcano actually like deteriorate the bolts and they go bad really fast. Like we saw a bolt and it was just like flaking apart. So this is a solution that they came up with, is to drill these holes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So this is another canyon we did. It's called Middle Mordor. I think it was called Middle Mordor. So basically what we did each day is, so sorry, my train of thought is kind of going all over the place. So Middle Mordor is an extension of Upper Mordor. So there's upper, middle, and lower, and it's just one really long water course. But the thing, and I think you could do all three linked together, but we did them separately. And something that we had to really watch out for when we were there is the rain. It actually rained like almost every single day, but it would always rain in the afternoon. So pretty much our days looked like get up really early, go do the canyon. We'd be home by like 1 or 2, and then we'd all be obsessing over the coronavirus news until we had to get up the next day for the next canyon. But this was just so this was like halfway down or in the middle of that water bed. And as you go down from the volcano, things just get more and more lush. And it ends at this really beautiful long rappel. And I think up to this point, this was the longest rappel we'd done. And maybe this is like, maybe about 200 feet long. And again, you can kind of choose your own adventure and get as much in the water as you wanted here. But we got some really beautiful photos. It was really beautiful there. And then this is a slide in Lower Mordor. So again, it's just further down that water course. And this canyon was more like short jumps and slides, but the walls all had moss and it was just really pretty and green. So I'm going to talk about one last canyon that we did that I thought was really spectacular, and I'll show a few of the highlights. So this canyon was called Gata Fiera, and this is like kind of like the third to last rappel. So again, we were walking down a river, and this is in a totally different section of Bajos del Toro than Mordor was. So we actually had to drive kind of maybe like 40 minutes or something to get here. So this rappel is super long, maybe about 200 feet or so. And then pretty shortly after this rappel, it moves on to another sequence of rappels. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's just some close-up photos of me rappelling down that. And it's just so beautiful. There's hanging gardens all around you. And the rappel is also free hanging. And it's cool, the plants are really big there. So a lot of these hanging plants are like as big as you are. This is just the same rappel from a couple different perspectives.
Wow, beautiful.
So after that big rappel I showed you, you kind of walk down this water course and pretty soon you start the next series of rappels. This is towards the end of the canyon. That's where all the big stuff was. And you can probably see a little person rappelling on the wall and some people at the top. This rappel, like you can kind of see the water, it kind of gets tucked back in this hole and then shoots back out. And as you're rappelling, you kind of get sucked into that hole too, and you have to walk yourself out. And that rappel was about 300 feet. It was really big. But it was still really nice because you didn't have to, you were never like in the direct flow. The flow is really, really heavy. I think it would have been pretty painful if you ended up in the flow. It was beautiful to rappel next to it. So this is just another perspective of that waterfall. So you can see where it starts and it ends kind of in that pool down there on the ledge. And then there's like some small rappels where you can see about 5 smaller waterfalls at the bottom that are all draining in. And those are where the last rappel is. And here's our group. I think I'm still rappelling down to this stage, but we're all just sitting on this tiny little ledge. And same waterfall, you can kind of see the hole. I think every single one of us got sucked into this hole and had to climb out. Another cool thing, and I think maybe I have more pictures, are these plants that are on the left side of us. There are these huge leaves that are like the size of an umbrella. And so Johan was telling us that these are called like umbrella plants essentially, because these leaves were so huge. I see someone oh yeah, it was super cool. Someone just commented in the chat. But yeah, it was just so beautiful. And the pictures like don't do it justice to how green it was. I feel like they're washing out the colors right now. It's just so beautiful. Oops. And so here's my boyfriend Connor. He just got off that ledge at the bottom where all those waterfalls come in, and everything is really green and mossy and just so beautiful. So here's another photo of those waterfalls again. And the photo on the right is, I believe, a photo after the really big rappel when we're just kind of getting down. But this photo kind of shows you just how green and luscious everything was. Everything was covered in moss. So someone said, if it rains every day, is there any chance of a flood event? So yeah, yeah, there is, but we would always go out. I mean, and Johan knew the area well enough to say, yeah, the morning is safe. We're going to be fine in the morning. And we were always out before, like pretty well before it would start raining. It's just, you could count on it raining in the afternoon. So, yeah, but it was nice to like have him there to be like, is this normal? Like, are these good conditions? And he was very familiar and very skilled. And so
Kind of like Ray in Colorado. It rained a lot during the festival and you'd have to go in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. But the morning is like totally fine. Like it looks totally clear out. Everything's fine. And so we usually would get out really early, like 1 p.m. Yeah.
Neat.
Okay, I think I just have a couple more. So these are just some last photos I took. The photo on the very left just kind of shows you how blue and pretty the water is. The top photo on the right, there was this like really cool little, I don't even know how to call it, but this thing you could pull yourself across a river. So we didn't have to do that, but I saw it and I thought it looked fun. So I stopped and I got in it and pulled myself across. This is the house we stayed in. And there was just these really sweet dogs walking around that were not feral. They were just kind of like community dogs, if you've ever seen like community cats. And they would come and hang out with us, and here's some horses at our house. So that's all I wanted to show you. And I guess if anyone wants to ask a couple questions, I'm happy to answer any.
What does Johan charge for his services?
So he charged us, I think it was $50 a day per person. And we did have to bring like our own gear. He had some ropes, but it was kind of expected, like you were canyoneering with a group of people, you'd want to bring your share of gear.
Right.
Yeah.
And what part of Costa Rica is it? Were you in?
So it's about an hour away from the airport. I think it's the San Juan airport. I just got distracted by the chat, but yeah, it's called Bajos del Toro. And it's really high up in the mountains. It's really high elevation, so it's actually pretty cool up there. It stayed like in the 70, like around 70 degrees, 70 to 80 degrees each day, which was actually really nice. It was never too hot.
What time of year were you there?
March. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, someone asked, can I post his Instagram handle again? And I'll do that in the chat. I can do that while Sandy is presenting. Yeah, so maybe I'll just turn it over to Sandy. She's a Canyon Leader 1, and she went to Switzerland, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll just turn it over to you, and I'll put that Instagram handle in the chat.
All right, I do need to figure out how I share my screen. Do I just press this thing at the bottom that says share screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you on multiple screens? Do you have one screen or multiples?
Well, I have my PowerPoint on my desktop.
Okay, so it'll ask you which screen you want to share. And if you have any audio, make sure you click the little button that says share your computer sound.
Okay.
And then hit share, and then that'll be it. It's easy.
All right, let me see. Share screen. And it says whiteboard, iPhone pad via AirPlay, iPhone pad via cable. How do I know which?
It should give you a little display of the screens that are optional to share.
Huh. I am not seeing them. Well, desktop. I see desktop, but you guys
are desktop. Push desktop.
Desktop. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I see you guys on my desktop, but how do I get beyond my desktop to my presentation?
So you can like minimize us and like go to your presentation.
Oh, okay. Let me try that. Hold on a minute. Okay, let's see. To share your computer audio, please install the Zoom audio device. Well, you guys can already hear me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see now. If you can see my desktop.
Yeah, we can see your desktop.
Oh, you can. Okay, so this will open up then.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, are you seeing you guys on the side here? Should I get rid of this?
Oh, don't worry about us.
Okay, let me minimize.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the the International Canyoning Festival in Ticino, and Ticino is in the very southern part of Switzerland. Switzerland is divided into 4 different linguistic regions. There's a German-speaking region, French-speaking, Romansh-speaking, and Italian-speaking. And the Italian part is down south, and it borders northern Italy. And it's very Italian. People speak Italian. The food is Italian. It's an awesome, beautiful place in the mountains there to be. And anyway, this was our first canyoning day. It was meant to be a girls' day. But this guy, Ed, is Tracy's husband, and his friends hadn't arrived yet. So he asked to be an honorary woman that day and come with us. So he did. He joined us. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So what does RIC stand for anyway? People always wonder why it's called that. So glad you asked. The first International Canyon Festival was named RIC, which now stands for three French words, Rassemblement International des Canyons. In 2003, Rich Carlson, who many of you may know, he's kind of the grandfather of canyoneering here in Utah. And some of you may have attended his workshop a couple months ago. Anyway, him representing the US and a guy named Koen Vian from Belgium wanted to create a venue where canyoneers from around the world could come together and share information. And so they, Koen set up the first two RICs in Europe, and Rich organized the first one in North America and Mexico. And since then, various canyoneers have been co-sponsoring rendezvous around the planet annually. And the RIC organizers connect with local canyoneers in a particular location and create a RIC. And typically about 200 individuals from at least 15 countries will attend these. And in 2015, I think it was, we had one here in Ouray, Colorado. So I attended that RIC as well. And they've also had them in places like the Azores in Portugal and Reunion Island outside of Madagascar. And they had one in Colombia in 2019. And then the one last year was supposed to be in Greece, but it got canceled because of COVID. So anyway, they're kind of all over the world. And the FIC, which is the Federation of International Canyoneering, is an international organization of canyoneers, and it's what promotes the RIC. And it also has a mission that does several of these things here on the left, developing international canyoneering and facilitating network between canyoneers all over the world, sharing information, training, techniques, rescue, etc., supporting canyon associations with political, legal, and administrative stuff. Some places have to, petition regional or local areas to open up canyons, and they'll help with the legal work with that, and also to develop a deep love of nature. And anyway, the FIC has a board of directors. It has member canyons from all these different countries, and it has a board of directors, and the one who represents the United States is a guy named Sonny Lawrence. I don't know if any of you have heard his name, but he has canyoneered all over the world, him and his wife Callius. He's a super great guy, and he's also very involved with the CAC, the Coalition of American Canyoneers. He's on their board as well. So he's a great resource and a great person to know in the canyoneering community. And these are just some of the other trips that they've done over the years. This is the one I attended in 2018. And this is just a screenshot. This went down and had them for many years, but you can go to the website and check it out. Anyway, so the first thing I did was I got a guidebook for the Ticino area in northern Italy, and started reading up on canyons before going and making my wish list. And European Beta is amazing. It tells you everything you might need to know and then some. It has diagrams that will indicate, if something is a dry rappel or a wet rappel, how many meters it is, how deep the pool is below it, so you'll know if it's safe to jump. It will tell you, some of them will say, there's one that's kind of funny. I was reading the book and it was saying approach, it will list, what kind of rock it is, the dimensions of the actual canyon, what the ideal season to go, the time it will take. And in the time, some of them will say approach 0 minutes, which basically you just pull up into the parking lot and you just walk into the canyon. It's pretty sweet. Unlike here in Utah, where you have grueling approaches and exits, it's very user friendly there. And here is the beta that they passed out to participants at the RIC. It was very sophisticated. It was a spiral bound book of beta. It had topo maps, symbols indicating everything from, what kind of rappel it was to the depths of the pools, all these different symbols. It'll tell you what your rope needs were, what the time was it's going to take you to get through, what the catchment is, or the watershed area, what the level of difficulty is, all sorts of stuff. It's got more information that you would ever want. And the festival was really they did an amazing job of putting on the festival. It had, it was kind of like an outdoor festival with tents everywhere. They had a food booth where you could order a hot meal, so it'd be ready for you when you came out of the canyons. You could get tickets for drinks. They had, you know, beer and wine in the evening. Sometimes some nights they had musical entertainment. You'd get a swag bag. You got a closing dinner and a party. And then your registration fee also included all the pre-festival canyon prep done by the organizers. They went through all the canyons and repaired any bolts that needed repairing, any hand lines that needed to be replaced. They put trail markers all over the place so you never lost your way. It was just really, really well done. Really well organized. And like I said earlier in these RICs, they do partner with people from the country. So not every RIC is going to be as well organized as this one. Ticino is one of the preeminent canyoning destinations in the world. So they've been doing this for a long time and they're pretty good at it. They've got it dialed in. But I did talk to some friends of mine that went to the one in 2019, which was in Colombia, and they said it was not very well organized and it was kind of a shit show. So it really can depend. But anyway, this one was awesome. Let's see. Here shows you everything you might need to know. This is like a typical beta, the typical beta that you'd get for a canyon. It had a topo map. This again is all the kind of snapshot, what you need, you know, time, rope needs, etc. And then here you see every little bit of the canyon is diagrammed. You know what the drop is, how deep the pool is, if there's boulders there. I mean, really amazing. And like Kristen was just saying, in Costa Rica, many of the canyons here are really long too, and they break them up. Like this one is Ponterone, this is Superiore, this is Inferiore. Some of them have an intermediate, which is their middle. And you can break them up and do them. And like you can go do Inferior in a half a day and come back another day and do Superior, you know, or you can do them all top to bottom and have a full day. So that's kind of nice. And you're walking through these charming villages to get to the trailheads. I mean, you're literally, you know, this is like heading up to the, you know, the drop in of the canyon, all through villages, through vineyards, local shrines, across stone bridges. It's just really beautiful. And then you're exiting right back into town. You know, this is an exit of Giomaglio. Here's a building right there. There's bridges that you're crossing and getting back into town. And then canyoning in Ticino includes amazing rappels and just stunning canyons. It's just an absolutely gorgeous place. Granite canyons, they call this rock gneiss, spelled Gneiss, but I've also heard it referred to as granite, so it might be a kind of granite. Just crystal clear green and blue water, deep pools, lots of fun jumps and stuff. Definitely some with pucker factor. This is the top of one rappel, and here's the rappel going into that pool. And definitely you can't be afraid of moving water. You do have to get into the water course a lot. And there's definitely techniques you can learn to do that and do it safely. But there's so much fun to be had with jumps, like Kristen said, and also slides. They call them toboggans. And this is where I kind of wanted to show you some other, I wonder if I can come off here. I want to show you some videos of some toboggans. Can you guys see this? Hello?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can see it.
Okay. I don't know how to make that move so it's not in your way, but here you can see a fun toboggan. You can see he's lowering himself down on the rope, and then the rope length sets so that he comes off of it. Super fun. Super fun slides. Let me show you another one. I won't make you suffer through too many of these, but let me show you another one. Hold on. This is another good one. So anyway, they're super fun. Let me get back to where we were. Anyway, the next one is scheduled for Brazil in 2022. They did have one scheduled for Spain in 2021, but they've canceled it due to COVID, and it's rescheduled for 2023. And for anybody who wants any information, here's some helpful resources to stay tuned on what's coming next, when the next RIC will be. But it's definitely a great experience, and you get an opportunity to meet people from all over the world and really see how things are done differently. Utah is really quite an exception when it comes to canyoning throughout the world. Sandstone dry canyoning and sandstone canyons here in Utah is pretty unique to Utah. The rest of the world does it quite differently. So anyway, that's my presentation. Let me see if I can get off of here. Okay. So if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I don't know how to get back on here. Let's see.
So if you like kind of hold your mouse towards the top of your screen, there should be something that pops up, and then there's a red button that says stop share. If you kind of just
share. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
I had a question. Can anyone go to the FICAs? Or sorry,
The RIC?
Rick, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they don't require any kind of certification. They just want to know, they want you to know what you're getting into and to know that you feel competent to do it. They did also have a booth there with an information booth, like where pros and local guides were available that you could go and talk to and get their opinion of the difficulty level of a canyon. And they talk to you about, the weather, and any kind of conditions you should be aware of. And also, if you're there by yourself or there with maybe only one other friend, they can put you into a group. You can sign up there for a canyon for the next day, and they'll put you into a group, which is kind of a nice thing too.
Do they cap the number of people that can go?
I think they do. I think I don't remember how many went to the one I went to, but in that original introduction, it said that it's usually around 200 participants. So yeah, I think it's usually anywhere between 100 and 200. It can depend how far away and inaccessible the location is too. I mean, they had one in Reunion Island, which is off of Madagascar in Africa, and that was less attended just because it was, a much more hard to reach and exotic location. So
What was the registration fee for that, or was there?
I was afraid you'd ask me that. It wasn't more than $100. I can't remember exactly what it was.
And that's just to register. Like, you do everything else yourself, right? Like,
you set up your own accommodation, but like they had camping there nearby if you wanted to camp, or they had really nearby you could walk to where the headquarters were. They had a kind of camp. In Europe they have these little camping areas that are all little cabins, like little bungalows, and 4 of us shared a bungalow. And in a little kind of bungalow community, like a camping community. And other people would rent houses. I had some friends there that rented houses. So there's lots of opportunities for different kinds of accommodation.
Okay.
And also back to the registration fee, they will do it where it's cheaper the sooner more in advance that you book, and it gets incrementally more expensive if you wait till the last minute. So if it's something you think you might want to do, book early.
Mhm.
So I guess any other questions, or I think I might be done then.
Thanks,
We were-
Sandy.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to go to Costa Rica, so
you
that
should go.
was a good intro.
Yeah, we literally just reached out to Johan on Facebook.
Yeah, I've met him before. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's
Super
really
nice
nice.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, both trips look really great. I'm like, man, I need to get out of the country.
I know. I know like Johan is letting people come now. So I know some people who went in December and met up with him. So
Okay. That's
yeah,
cool.
like I think you can get to Costa Rica. I think there are planes going there. And so yeah.
Another, I've been to Mexico a couple of times. That's another less expensive, but nice way to get out of the country and see something new. And there's a couple areas there that are popular and where you can find guides to take you. One of them's in Monterey and one of them's in Chiapas.
Mhm.
Those are some really great places too. If anybody has any questions about that, I'd be happy to just DM me. I'd be happy to give you some info.
We should probably, it'd be cool if we had on the website like a list of guides that we've used in different places. And if we recommend, like if we like the guide or something, so other people could,
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
cool. Yeah.
I have to go, but bye everyone.
All right. I think is this what the whole evening was being
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go too and have some dinner. So
Yeah,
Thanks,
I have
you
my-
guys.
yeah.
I
Thank
have
you
to
so
work out in
much.
half an hour, so I was gonna have to go anyhow soon too.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.